I have a YouTube video of going deep sea fishing where I got a sunburn on my leg so bad that I actually got sun poisoning. Look, I sound like a dummy here, but I wasn't even thinking. About a week later, I go to a water park and it gets infected. Oh, because your skin is an organ. I was seeing rash all the way in my arms, chest, everywhere. It was terrible. So I had to go to the doctor and get antibiotics and get it cleared up, which also wrecked my stomach, took away my appetite, and I couldn't train properly in the beginning. So
those damn water parks breeding.
I'm not going again, man. I'm telling you.
No.
Okay, I have to be truly honest with you. I've always believed in myself, and I know that the work that I'm willing to put in, and having my coach, of course, Hani Rambod, behind me, I truly believe that I could crack the top three.
Today's episode of the AMA Podcast with Chris and Milos, we had the pleasure of speaking with Derek Lunsford. I know Derek personally. We were together on the same sponsorship team for a while, so we had some fun on some road trips we had to go on. But Derek's a good dude. It was good catching up with him. We discussed a little bit about his year in the offseason, how he actually didn't have a full year going into Olympia, and the decision to compete in Open wasn't something that was set for the entire year, which is very interesting. So we had some obstacles to overcome. Be sure to check that out. And his decision not to compete in Arnold this year might surprise some people, but Milos was pretty adamant about everybody should be competing in Arnold after Olympia. But Derek has his good reasons, and he is ultimately looking for a good solid offseason this year to really tackle Olympia, which is great. We touched on training, a little bit about his past and his mentality, but overall it was a great podcast. Everybody check it out. If you guys have any questions, comments, please write below and subscribe. Also, check out drinkmore.com, a delicious mineral-based water enhancer. Add to your water to incentivize that water intake the entire day. It's not just about minerals, it's about overall water intake. Got to get that water in, especially those of you consuming a lot of calories on a daily basis in the off season. It can become quite difficult, so spice it up with something like this. drinkmore.com. Also, check Santapani Circles on Telegram. All of us are on there. Even Milos comes in there every once in a while and shares some of his knowledge. It's good banter, a lot of entertainment, but be sure to check it out.
All right, back another AMA podcast with Chris and Milos, and we have Mr. Derek Lunsford. We used to call you Mr. USA, but now we can expand upon that, right?
Yeah, thanks for having me on, man. It's been a minute since you and I have spoke face to face, so it's good to see you, man.
Yeah, for sure. Derek. Remember, Milos, we were on the road trip together a couple years ago. Wow, it was almost 5 years ago right now, 4 years ago.
Oh, man, probably 5 years ago.
Yeah, Derek and I staying awake late at night, making huge omelets and a bunch of sketchy carbohydrates before the next day. Dealing with Gary Turner's shit. Gary Turner.
That was a good time, man. I really enjoyed that time.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Well, listen, you call him Mr. USA, right? And I want to just jump straight into it. Derek, I mean, you came on the pro scene like storm. I mean, first you won all these amateur shows, first pro show, Tampa, go straight into the big league, and then you accomplished winning 212, going into the Olympia. I mean, let's face it. Did you actually believe that you can do what you did? But that's serious because that's something when I started bodybuilding and just going in, imagining that I'm going to go and dethrone Lee Haney, right? Or stuff. So you coming from 212, going against monster Big Ramy, right? The Mr. Consistency, ripped to the bone, complete balance, Hadi Chupan, right? And all these other guys. Did you, going into the show, expect it? Just hoping for it and say, okay, let's see what happens? Or you felt it deeply, I can do this?
Okay, I have to be truly honest with you. I've always believed in myself, and I know that the work that I'm willing to put in, and having my coach, of course, Hani Rambod, behind me, I truly believe that I could crack the top three. I really did. In my heart of hearts, I knew top three was a possibility for me, and top three, anything can happen, right? So I thought, okay, top three, would be where I really want to place. And of course, everybody wants to win. But I said, okay, top 5 is reasonable. And top 3, I truly believe I can crack that.
It's going into the show right away. I mean, this is such. I am a big fan of your physique. I mean, anybody that listens, you guys know I like shape. I like V-taper. I like aesthetics. So it's no brainer. And in all these podcasts leading into it, as soon as they mention Derek, I say, yeah, it's the most perfect fucking structure going there. But is this going to be enough? Right? So this is why I'm saying, because now when we're talking even Ramy doing Arnold Classic, they're looking at it differently, right? Oh, no, he was top 5 and, he is no longer there. Hey, that was a Big Ramy. Big Ramy that dominated, right, for 2 years, and he's 300 pounds. So for you going from 212, you know how people already perceive, there's no way. There is no way. Mm. But I tell you, the first moment you step on stage and open up and did that front relax, temperature changed in auditorium, right? It was like, holy shit. And then when you lifted the arms, the frontal biceps and the last spread, I mean, you could really, really see that, oh my God, this is actually happening. So even backstage, before you had that first contact with the audience, you say, okay, I'm here to fight, but I'm here to win. You see, Nick Walker, you got to give it to him. He has that fucking crazy confidence and seeing himself, he's winning the show.
Well, I think we're all there to win, right? Like, I don't think anybody shows up not to battle each other, right? So we put in not just weeks and months of hard work, but years of our life to get to this level. So, for me, it wasn't just hope, and it wasn't clear, I'm gonna win the Olympia this year. It was more like, okay, this is my first time stepping on stage at the Olympia with the open guys. And I know this is the best package that I'm going to bring to date, but I also know it's not the best package I'm ever going to bring. So I thought to myself, let's see where I stack up right now, today, this year, at this year's Mr. Olympia. And this kind of gives a good idea moving forward of where I stand amongst the lineup. And like I said, I had belief that I would be in that top 3, at least the top 5, I did believe, but the top 3 was what I was really gunning for. And then when it was a 1-point difference after prejudging with me and Hadi, I was like, well, of course I didn't know that at the time, but looking back, I'm like, oh man, it's close.
I have to say, Derek, I had you top 3. I had a lot of people arguing, but I don't know, man. People say they're not going to let Derek get too high in his first Olympia, even if he is good. I'm like, I don't know, man. I just have the feeling because, me seeing your physique, knowing you, seeing in the 212, knowing that how much weight you had to cut and really kind of make that weight class. And then always seeing you come down to that, how impressive your back was, your legs. And I'm like, dude, his front double bicep and his rear double bicep are arguably the best there is, period. Right. So it's like, how much is that going to show? And it was me, Juji, and Evan watching live in the hotel room. And when you guys all came out and you doing your front double bicep, rear double bicep, the comparison, I'm like, it doesn't look like you have less body weight than a lot of some other guys that had body weight, like that balance and that symmetry, as you said, Milos, just
it's substantial. Listen, this is what I'm keep fighting the fight. It's bodybuilding. It's not muscle building. It's come on, shape should be rewarded. And then when you say shape, okay, you guys are younger, but back in the day when I was starting in the 70s, right? You look at the shape. When you look at the bodybuilding, you were not impressed with just plain mass muscle. Hani Rambo, even in this podcast, when I discussed it him back and forth, he was saying something, well, it's still open. It's still a bodybuilding show. It's still muscle, matters. And that's when I, brought, how heavy you were 212 and then jumping to like 230. Right. And you were standing next to 295, 300-pound guys. And not just that you're holding your own, Jesus Christ, in some poses, that V taper, when you open up, you actually look the widest one. I still, as I told you, I didn't like your leg positioning. Somebody yesterday on RX Muscle said Mike Francois said about that too. Back in the 90s, we had feet together and all that stuff. I analyzed your cover shot from Muscle Development from 2022, and legs. I mean, you have that beautiful shape and great separation. I know that Hani Ramba was saying that about adductors and filling them up and making look. Why I really disagree. I think that when shape and separation is there, even if it's a little bit less volume and space that you cover behind you, right? Okay. Judges are not stupid. They see that the knee positioning. I don't think you gain in the illusion. It's just my opinion. And every time when I talk to Jay Cutler, for example, I say, why nowadays guys do that? I mean, I thought this, Chris, I sent him the message of a picture with Derek riding the horse. And
dude, you had me rolling that night when you sent that picture to me.
It was funny because I sent it. Somebody immediately sent it to me. I said, "Should I send to Derek?" But I don't know if he would be like pissed off because I
was like 4 weeks out at that time,
Yeah.
so that was when I should have been like most offended.
Yeah,
I know, right? Yeah.
yeah. I mean, my hats off to you. So anyway, my huge admiration, and people don't realize you didn't lose straight from every judge. You were winning Mr. Olympia by some judges' score sheets. Jay Cutler was a similar position in the 2021, right? And then 2022, no, I said 2001. He won a 2002 Arnold Classic. Going with this, I only lost to this guy. I'm the only one competing, right? So I discussed this with Hani, and I don't want to push the button, but I still want to know. You are sure to be first favorite to win $300,000. Sure in. Like I had all these debates with Sean Ray, who's basically saying, "Oh, he's just throwing away 300,000." Many people. Jay Cutler, he says that winnings from 2002 Arnold Classic pay his first mortgage and stuff like that, right? You look pretty good a couple of weeks after the Olympia, and that's when there was debates. And Hani said that it was your decision only. You didn't have a even slightest little urge to do it?
Well, I can't deny. Yeah, I did. Even before the Olympia, I was, I had it in the back of my mind that maybe I would just roll right into the Arnold right after this past Olympia. But like you said, a couple weeks after the Olympia, I continued training as if I was to compete at the Arnold. And during that time, it was giving me the opportunity to think about it, to pray about it, to talk to my wife about it, to discuss with Hani. So it was collectively that we talked about whether I should or shouldn't do it, the pros and the cons. And then I thought to myself, I said, okay, could I push into the Arnold and be a front runner to the $300,000, the prestigious Arnold Classic title? Sure, I could on paper. And I think that I would do very well, possibly win. And that would be amazing. But what is it that I'm really doing? Why did I get into bodybuilding? What am I doing here? I need to look at the bigger picture. I want to win the Mr. Olympia this year, And look, I know it's not up to me. I know if I did the Arnold Classic, did the Olympia, there's a chance that, who knows? Maybe I could have won both. But at the end of the day, I want to make strong improvements, and I'm here to build the best physique that I possibly can. And I want to make a big statement this year at the Olympia, hopefully similar to last year. And yeah, I want to walk away with the Mr. Olympia title, and I want to be a more dominant bodybuilder with my physique. And that was my call to make. Do I want to do this? Again, it was discussed amongst me and my wife as well. She was for it, and she was also for me not to do it. Her number one thing is, I want you to be healthy. And for me, that's an amazing wife, right? Like, it's not just money, this and that. It's like, I'll support you if you want to go do it. That is a lot of money that would help us out financially. But at the same time, I support you and I want you to be healthy. That's it. And so I really feel that it was the best decision to sit back, watch the likes of Nick Walker, Samson, Andrew Jack, Kamal, Clarida, Bonac, all these guys, all these amazing bodybuilders go up and compete for that Arnold title and $300,000. I get to sit back, watch this while I'm over here, still getting my butt in the gym and making improvements. And I'm now looking back after a couple months, I'm really happy I did that because I'm already seeing improvements 2 months post Olympia while these guys are dieting. So I'm happy.
Derek, if in theory, if next year you do win the Mr. Olympia contest, would you go into Arnold a few months after?
I would still consider it. I mean, it depends on where I'm at in my life at that time, meaning mentally, physically, health-wise, everything. And is it and timeline-wise too? Does it make sense to do the Olympia then the Arnold timeline-wise? So it depends on where I'm at following this year's Olympia, but it's not like I'm not considering it in the future for sure. And that's what I was saying was, look at the bigger picture here. I didn't even get a full off season last year from 212 to open. And this year I could take a full off season and come back a more dominant bodybuilder. And then at that point, maybe I will jump in the Arnold and have an even better shot at winning the Arnold next year. Who knows?
What do you mean by that? You didn't have a full off season last year. I mean, by the time you showed up at the Pittsburgh, you were a goddamn monster.
Well, I was doing about 30 to 40 minutes of stairs pretty much every day except leg day, going in like during that time because I was trying to keep my weight down. I was trying to burn as many calories and consume as few as possible. So my carbs were like, I think at one point it got down to like 150, but I think we were like trying to hover around 200, maybe 250 max, and trying to keep my carbs lower. My fats come up a little bit. My protein stayed the same, but I'm doing cardio. I'm training hard. And it just seemed like my body just wanted to just morph. And like Chris had said earlier, like he's known me for several years. My body's wanted to grow, but I wanted to stay in the 212 for years and years. And even last year, I wanted to defend the title. So once the guest posing at Pittsburgh happened, even then, Hani was like, don't buy into the hype. Like, this is an off season look for you. We need to make sure that we're refining this physique. And as we do that, these next couple of months, we'll see if you're ready for the open or not. And so that's what we did.
He said that you were only like on 150 grams of carbs, and he was trying to keep the weight down. Yeah. But then when he saw you on the stage and put things in perspective, I mean, they're all these big guys that you were looking bigger than. I watched you
Crazy.
Yeah. It was. I wasn't there. Some of those pictures, I really didn't believe it. This has to be a Photoshop because legs were just freaky, sweeping, thick, and then upper body was ridiculous. But I've seen that in you, even 2020 and 2020. No, 20. Hold on a second. In 2020 and 2021, going into the Olympia, Instagram, some of your videos and pictures and stuff like that, and that double biceps twisting back shots, which, by the way, you didn't do it. The Arnold twisting back shot on the stage, I think is phenomenal. That looking at twist all the way. That's a wow shot. All the time there, I was like, if he looks, you look close to the contest shape, but you were probably like 238, 240 at that weight. I was right away pointing out to my training partner. I said, this guy should do the open right away. But I honestly didn't expect you're going to bring what you brought it. And that's why I didn't. I think I saw you as high as top 6.
Dang. I remember
my predictions. But you see, if they would say a shape, right, I would say winning. But combination of like, oh, he's not gonna, come on, Big Ramy, and then all the other lineup, Hadi, you're talking Brandon Curry, and I didn't expect it. So what you're saying is you didn't have a full off season the way it's supposed to be done. You were kind of holding back. And now you are already starting this for 2020.
Well, there's even more to it than that. Hani and I did a podcast about a month ago, I think it was, on his channel. And we discussed a little bit of how last year went, on how I actually got I have a YouTube video of going deep sea fishing where I had ended up getting a sunburn on my legs. This was around June, July. I got a sunburn on my leg so bad that I actually got sun poisoning. About a week later, look, I sound like a dummy here, but I wasn't even thinking. About a week later, I go to a water park and it gets infected.
Oh,
so not only do I have a bad sunburn, sun poisoning, now I have an infection from this, which honestly, before we even like sent any sort of special invitation request, Hani's like, we got to get this cleared up because we don't even know if you're going to be able to compete in the Olympia 212 or open. Like, we need to make sure you're healthy first. And so that was a big factor too, even after the guest posing around July, August, September time. So
how long was that?
How long was it?
How long was that?
It lasted a few months because I had this horrible rash all over my body. It started on my legs, and then it because your skin is an organ, I was seeing rash all the way in my arms, chest, everywhere. It was terrible. So I had to go to the doctor and get antibiotics and get it cleared up, which also wrecked my stomach, took away my appetite, and I couldn't train properly in the beginning. So
those damn water parks breeding.
I'm not going again, man. I'm telling you.
No.
But that's why I say, like, I sound like a dummy here, but I didn't think about it. I never had an issue like this ever in my life.
Yeah.
So, and there's video and pictures and things like that of like my rash and how bad it was. And I was trying to cover it up. Obviously, like, nobody wants to show it. I was embarrassed, but thank God now, like, you can't even tell. But yeah, I was dealing with that last year too. So when you ask, what do you mean no off season? Well, there you go. Yeah. There's part of it too.
Yeah. Well, so on that note, what do you expect to happen? Because you seem like, everything sticks to you. You look at the weight and you grow. I mean, kind of. So how heavy do you think you plan to be? If it's an even realistic expectation?
Let's say I was somewhere between 255 and 260 at the guest posing. More like 260. I would say if I can be around that weight with better conditioning this year, that's optimal, ideal.
But you did that with 150 grams of carbs and doing cardio. Yeah, and I know.
The thing is, I don't know if I need to
be bigger.
Be like 275, 280. If I wanted to, I could easily do that. But I don't think I need to push my weight up that high. I don't think. I mean, we'll see. We're just going to assess it as time goes, of course.
But you know how small.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, that waist is not even small. That's ridiculous. The V taper, that's the biggest shoulder lats to waist differential in the history of Olympia, I believe. I mean, there was this guy, Brian Buchanan. I remember he had a super small waist, right? But probably didn't have as wide lats, even though he had a good back. Shit. Well, Derek, I mean, they told Hani to put as much size on the Hadi Chupan to be competitive, right? Mm-hmm. And going to this last year's Olympia, he put 10, 12 pounds of
I think so.
Some people, and we know many throughout the years, trying to gain the size and lose shape. And some people actually keep improving. With your waist to lats differential and your flat stomach, I don't see, I've never seen you off season or anything that it's concerned that you're changing the shape. It just me speaking loudly, I'm a fan of the sport and of physique. And if Hani is here, yes, I'm also always told, don't try to make them too big. They're going to lose the lines. Don't try, some guys you can see risking that. But yours is zero risk because
it's like oddly as this sounds, for given your height not being 5'11", even though you got to body weight you did at your height, it still didn't look, as Milo said, it didn't look like it was being detrimental, which means you can still grow out more weight for your frame before you're even in danger of that.
Yeah, I mean,
it's kind of similar to the height weight ratio of classic, right? Like, these guys all have a similar illusion to them with their height weight ratio. And for me, like, someone who's a couple inches taller than me can probably hold a few more pounds, but we look relatively the same, or I might even look a little bit bigger. So that's the thing, is like hearing that some of these former Mr. Olympias were 220s, 230, winning the Olympia in the past. And that gives me confidence knowing like, me being even a couple inches shorter, that I'm going to look even bigger, or so I hope.
But you're going to kind of limit it. You don't want to go overboard. You see, some people can pack the mass. And I talked to you at Arnold Classic. I don't know if you remember, we were having a drink with Dr. D.
Yeah.
And
Shout out Dr. D, Diego.
Dr. D, yes. It was a great conversation. Back then, you even said something that I catch, like your cycles, bikini cycles. Let's put it that way, right? I mean, this is also...
We're talking about isoject protein and the carnogen.
Yeah. I mean, really. So, and your body doesn't look like you abuse anything, and you're super careful. And even back then, you were just growing. You told me some of the numbers. It was like super moderate, and you look healthy. Okay. And I'm not saying that you should push the envelope. Far from it. More and more that I see throughout the years, the less is often way better. People don't realize that it's expected because Joe Blow does it and this coach does it. And say, no, you just need a little bit of pharmacological support. And it seems like, Derek, you figured that out long ago already.
The thing is I come from a wrestling background where my training and nutrition, or lack of diet knowledge at the beginning, comes from my wrestling background of cutting weight and training super hard for wrestling. So when I got into bodybuilding, it was about training, eating, and resting and recovery as far as therapies and things like that. So all the other stuff I was oblivious to anyway. So for me, I had a great first few years, a great foundation of training before I even started bodybuilding. So for me, number one is food. It's the most anabolic thing on the planet. And training, you have to have the food to support the training. And then you have to have enough rest and therapeutic work to be able to get back in the gym and train again hard the next day and do that day after day, laying the bricks. So for me, I've just focused more on the training and the nutrition, and it's worked really well. So
yeah, you had the early bird, right? You wake up super early and you go to bed super early, correct?
When I was in high school, I was a super, super dedicated wrestler. My life was wrestling. And one of the first messages that I sent to my now wife 12 years ago was, she's like, tell me a little bit about yourself. So I sent her a book and I'm like, wrestling's my life. That's all I do. If, I train at least once or twice a day, and if that's just who I am. And, if that's not something you're interested in, then you won't be interested in me. I remember every single day I would wake up and be at school an hour early before anybody got to school. And I would either swim with the wrestling or the swimming coach, and he would put me through drills for cardio conditioning, or I would run or something like that for cardio conditioning. First thing in the morning, I would take a shower. Everybody would get to school. A couple hours later, around lunchtime, I had a class that was weightlifting. Then I had lunch, and then I had like another short period of time where I could go to the gym and weight train. So I used that time midday to weight train. After school, I would have wrestling practice, or I played soccer too, but let's just say wrestling practice. I would go and I would train for 2.5 hours. And then on occasion, which I would say about 3 days a week, after that, I would go to a friend's house and we would drill more wrestling techniques at his house. We'd put out the mats and drill for another hour and a half or so. And that was my life. I felt like I was an Olympic athlete back in high school. So again, I carried that on into college. I wrestled in college for a short period of time. And then I found bodybuilding. I said, okay, let's put this motivation, dedication, and love and passion for what I had for wrestling into weight training and bodybuilding. And it's just who I am. That's kind of what the post I made today is like. People ask me all the time, how do you stay motivated? And I say, to be honest, I'm not always motivated. I don't think anybody is. There's no way you can always be motivated. It's the love you have for bodybuilding or whatever it is that you're doing. And it's just who you are. If I wasn't a bodybuilder, I wouldn't be me. Literally, I would be some other kind of person. But bodybuilding has shaped me as I've shaped up as a bodybuilder. So,
but were you a high level wrestler?
I'll be honest. I mean, I I was a good high school wrestler, I suppose. But once I got to college, it was a completely different ball game. And I realized the thing is I still loved it and I still wanted to pursue it. But I knew I was like, man, like you need to realize this isn't going to be your future. Like I'm not ever going to make a career out of wrestling, and I need to focus on school and finding my path in life. So I went to school for business, got my degree, and found bodybuilding in the meantime.
Wrestling is the toughest goddamn sport. I mean,
wrestling's awesome. I wrestle.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I was in judo for 8 years, and then when I was in Fullerton, those kids that were coming to my gym and say, "Oh, come to wrestling practice." Just how much difference? Like, once you know how to ride a bike, you can ride a bike all the time, right? So I'm here like, after 10 years of not training judo. I went there, man. They kicked my ass so badly. I never want to go back. Yes, but you say soccer? Are you serious? Because
I play soccer.
I mean, today I'm watching Manchester United, Barcelona at 12 noon. That's why.
Oh, nice.
I'm happy that we're doing this early.
Yeah.
Are you really watching the soccer, or you just played back? No.
No, I still follow like the UFC and college wrestling, a little bit of Olympic wrestling, but I never really like followed soccer too much. I more or less just did it from the time I was like an early grade school kid through high school, and I just really enjoyed it, and it kept me in good condition for wrestling in high school and stuff too. So it was just more or less like the sport that I did for fun, and I really enjoyed. It was like our team was okay. It wasn't anything like we were going to go to state or anything like that. It was just we all enjoyed it, and then the starting soccer players on our team, we all kind of had our own individual sports. Like we had tennis players, baseball players. I was a wrestler, and this was just kind of like the sport that we all grew up on and did for fun. So we never really took it too serious. I mean, we took it serious because we all worked really hard, but that was about the extent of it, I guess. We never really like thought our future would be soccer or anything.
Derek, how much fun I just remember wrestling, the camaraderie on the wrestling team. Just like constantly dicking around. When we travel for tournaments, it's just like it was shenanigans in the hotel room. You know what I mean? Like in the hotel block, we would just be like getting in
constantly.
Trouble. Oh my God, it was awesome. I missed that.
Constantly, man. And dude, wrestlers are ruthless, man. So you got to be ready. You got to be ready, man. You got to be on your toes.
Especially like when you're like young and like the seniors, because obviously like we would mess with seniors. Would be like, what are you going to do about it, punk? And like they would chase us down and beat the crap out of us. It was just so much fun.
Yeah.
I missed that.
But did you have a weightlifting in wrestling as a part of the strength conditioning?
Yeah, actually, my high school wrestling coach was my strength training and weightlifting teacher. So yeah, shout out to Billy Haywig, Coach Haywig out there. I'm sure he's watching. So actually how everybody knows, I guess my quote or whatever, every day is a great day to get better. It's something that I say and I live by. It's something that he instilled in me in high school, and it really stuck with me. And I'm like, man, that's great. Every day is a great day to get better. So I just I've always carried that with me since. And that was my strength trainer and weightlifting coach, wrestling coach. But he was a former college football player. They won he went to Western Kentucky. They won a national football championships there. So he kind of knows what he's doing.
Yeah, for sure. I like your quote. It's making a day counts. Days counts. And just because you can't do everything that you want to do, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't do the things that you can, being who you are and what you want. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to that progress. Now that you pass Arnold Classic, which I'm sure part of you probably wanted to do it. I was agreeing with some of the people who say, like, would Derek winning the Arnold Classic boost him up even more for the Olympia? Or of course it would, but I know exactly where you are when you can taste it. You are so close. You want to make some additional improvements and then be undeniable. I hope that your prep is going smooth. You don't have a infection and skin. Now that
you were asking me earlier. You're like, what am I going to do different? I'm going to stay in a bubble this year.
No water parks.
Yeah, no water parks.
But I tell you, 1994, I get the sunset 2 weeks out of the Olympia. Same thing. I was like, oh yeah, you get the base 10 outside, and I was just staying every day. It's goddamn. And then I was dangerously dehydrated, and they rushed me to the hospital. And then they basically, hooked me up, and they didn't want to let me go. Now it's like, this is now serious. So I know where you've been. It was 2 weeks out, But
that's the worst time for something like that.
The worst.
Literally.
But we never expect anything can go sideways, right? That's why, you're a young guy, you're living your life, you went, deep sea fishing. Jesus Christ, aren't you afraid of a goddamn sharks? Now that you mentioned, I'm terrified of sharks. And I tell you this, I was at the camp in Australia with I did my training camp, and then we all decided, okay, let's go just to the ocean. And so Brisbane, and we are like, Gold Coast. And we were just like deeply into the water. All of a sudden, helicopter comes up and says, "Get out of the water, shark!" This is the last time I went to the ocean. I would not.
Man!
So you're not concerned about these things at all?
About what? Sharks?
Sharks, yeah.
Dude, I caught a shark that day. Go watch my YouTube channel, man.
Well, Milos, it's not like he's doing it. He's not putting himself in the water as bait. He's on the boat. But Derek, what I wanted to bring up, which I remember you being criticized for, was your training. Remember a long time ago, they're like, he needs to stop moving so controlled. He needs to change his training, which I personally always disagreed with. And I know Milos is about execution. It's not just about the weight. It's about driving that tension. And you've always stayed on that path, and obviously look at the physique you've built. And like, I've always been like that. I'm like, man, having control. We've trained together a few times, it's just like training with controlled controlling the weight, full range of motion, feeling the muscle, and making the most out of that weight versus like just positioning yourself to lift the most load you can. Doesn't mean you should, right? So it's like, tell me a little bit more about your training now, if it has changed at all since you've been with Hani.
Well, I think you just said it right there, man. You have to control the weight. You have to be able to stimulate the muscle you're trying to work that day. If you're just throwing around some weights, even though it's an exercise to maybe hit chest, you might just be hitting your shoulders and triceps and not even getting any activation in your chest. And that was something that I noticed myself a couple of years ago. I was never able to really activate my chest very well. Over the last couple of years, I've been able to do that. And that's why now, like, especially this year, I'm starting to really notice deeper striations and a better connection with all of my chest muscles from the top here near the clavicle all the way down. So I'm really excited about that. That's what gets me fired up to go train. Looking back on it, when I first started bodybuilding, what did I do? Where did I learn my training? I would look up on my phone on YouTube, Jay Cutler chest workout or Phil Heath back workout or whatever it was, right? Those were the guys I was looking up to at the time. And I would go watch their videos, and then I would mimic it in the gym. Down the road, I started training with other people, and my style of training changed a little bit. Then working with Hani now, fast forward to today, we're doing the FST7 training. And I'm like, man, this seems really familiar. Back when I first started, I seen tremendous results. I gained like 15, 20 pounds every year, the first couple of years, and I was really blowing up. And then it kind of stopped for a couple of years. What changed? Oh, maybe because I was doing the FST7 in the beginning. Who was coaching Jay Cutler and Phil Heath at that time with the videos I was watching on YouTube? Oh, exactly. There you go. So I find that training style has worked the best for me. It's similar to like high intensity meets volume. And I think that works really well for me as long as you're able to execute the exercise and stimulate the muscle that you're trying to work that day.
So can you tell us briefly what is FS7?
So FST7 sets are going to be like 5 to 7 sets of like, let's say 10 to 12 reps. You get about 30 to 40 seconds rest. And that's where you're meeting, like I said, high intensity with a lot of volume. And so keeping the muscles pumped and full and then stretching them out. So that's why we're doing like the flexing and the posing in between sets and stretching them out with certain exercises. So it's really just creating the most pump and the most volume in the muscle as you possibly can, rather than just thinking, okay, let's slap on a ton of weight and let's see how heavy we can go. Let's see how full and round and 3D we can get that muscle.
So pump would create the fascia stretching, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then you do the stretch overload as well.
Yeah, that's correct. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It makes all the sense. I told you after the Olympia, as a friend, if I can point something out, I would like to see that what you were just saying, striations happening in your chest, that density and stuff. And I think I even mentioned, if I didn't, this is what I tell my guys, you have to have that complete control of the wave, right? Mm-hmm. Going from down all the way up. And once you have this and you look in the mirror and you see every fiber, just like a guitar, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So when you have that, and then in the gym, you try to replicate and contract. So every muscle contraction is like this, and then you hold that pose for a couple of seconds, the peak contraction. I said that to Honey Rainbow as well. Your physique with this detail can very well compete with Hadi. Hadi having that stupid striated chest, right? And intercostal serratus. This is where he was getting you last year, right? Mm-hmm. So the detail here, right? So these were, if you remember what I said after the banquet, these are the things that we should focus on, because your physique is close to perfection already. Some judges still say, like, yeah, you need more size on the legs. So I'm sure that you're doing it.
Absolutely.
I mean, I've seen the shape. I'm sure that if you put the load on the quads, I think the quads are the easiest to develop. I had many guys throughout the years. They come to the gym and say, "Oh, I have an issue putting." Okay, so you just didn't put the good load on it. You didn't push from the muscle. You just you're focusing on the movement. I'm sure you work a little bit with Ben Pakulski, and he was telling you the difference from muscle centric to movement centric. So for legs, what I swear by, you want to put the size, one thing only, I would put you on the super slow hack squats down and up, slow concentrics, not just everybody that's slow eccentrics. I swear by slow concentric from rock bottom, 3/4 of the way up, to the point that you feel somebody stabbing the knives in your quads and turning them. Yeah. I mean, this kind of feeling it should be.
I have to second that, but I also think that switching up the tempo in your training is super important. So, like you said, the majority of your reps being slow, always controlled, but slow reps, and just controlling it on the way down. But then let's say you get to like 10, 12 reps, I think you can bust out about 5 more a little faster and create even more swelling in those quads. That's what I've noticed too, as well, is changing the tempo, whether that's chest, arms, legs, doesn't matter, back, whatever muscle group you're training. I think that's another key to growing muscle tissue, is changing the tempo. So there's times where I'll do like 5 slow, 5 fast, 5 slow, 5 fast, or like I said, maybe 10 reps slow and then 5 a little faster. Just trust me, if you've never done it and you try it, you'll know what I'm talking about. You're going to get that extra swelling and pain in the muscles you're training.
Are you doing one body part per week, or are you doing multiple body parts, like a push-pull legs off kind of split?
Recently, the last couple of weeks, I've given myself extra rest days just because I was training hard for about 2 months, 1 month and a half, 2 months post Olympia. And I thought, okay, now I just really need to give a couple extra rest days. But generally speaking, I like to train at least 5 days a week, preferably 6, giving like 1 day off. I'll do I'll train each body part once, and things like calves or abs or arms, I feel like you can throw in a couple times. Even your chest and shoulders, you can do a little extra pump on other days. But I usually like to do 2 full leg days a week. but one's more quad dominant, one's more hamstring dominant, which I'm sure you guys are the same. Same thing like chest and shoulders, like a push, and then like a back and arms as a pull. But probably throw in a little extra arms and abs and calves in there.
So what are your main areas you want to improve for the Olympia?
Like we said, like if I can bring up my quads a little bit, that'd be great. Definitely my chest and arms, I would like to bring up a little bit more. Like I said, it was close last year already, and there was some judges that was leaning one way, some judges leaning the other way. For me, I just want to continue to focus on my physique and just keep improving it and see just how much better I can get, year after year. So I'm really excited. I'm really excited for this year, man. Giving myself these next few months to make those improvements, man. So
back double biceps pose. You think that anybody in the history of bodybuilding would challenge you that? Back double biceps.
No.
The back double biceps? Are you asking me or I think you're
I'm asking you. Yeah, I'm asking you.
You
know what I was asking? Yeah.
You are putting me on the hot seat on that one.
Yeah,
man.
why not? I mean, why not? It's just
I'll answer for you.
So sensitive, offended. I speak my mind. Yeah, yesterday, Jay was saying some shit about my legs. I mean, my legs. My legs are fucking great, right? So this is one thing you say. So I sent yesterday like 5 pictures to Jay. I said, check out my quads back in the day, right? And that's one thing that I had. But your back double biceps is state of the art. Considering first silhouette, which Bob Chicorino was saying. I don't know if you've seen it. Look at Derek's silhouette. It can tell you a whole lot about the physique, shape, balance. So back double biceps silhouette. It's like fucking X-frame, like it's not seen before, right? And then you turn the lights, and now look at the detail. Goddamn striations on the glutes, and then every little detail on the back lats, rhomboids, teres mountain, everything. But many people lose the width once they hit the lats. You are very specific. When you squeeze down, your lats actually flare even further. Mm-hmm. So many guys had a good back double biceps, but I don't think they had that much of the V taper and this much of the detail.
Well, thank you. And I appreciate that. I'll say
besides you, whose back double biceps you admire?
Well, to answer your original question, of course, I'm me. So I look at myself, I'm the hardest critic on me. I think Jay Cutler said it too. When he was competing, he didn't even like looking at himself half the time. I could be misquoting him, but that's kind of like me. Like sometimes I just don't even, I got a mirror right here, but sometimes I try not to look, because I'm just in my zone focus, and I just want to continue to improve. And I don't even stop and think like, okay, how good are we right now? I just think, okay, this needs to be a little bit improved. This needs to be a little bit improved. So maybe one day I'll look back after I'm done competing and I'll be like, yeah, that was something special. But for now, it's like, I know that it's a very dominating pose, but I still see that I can improve. That's just maybe it's just my mindset. I don't know. But like I said, I'm my worst critic, and I just want to continuously improve. And that's not just me saying that. That's really how I feel, is that I feel like I just got started, man. This is year 1 for open bodybuilding for me. So,
I mean, you will definitely, I can attest, and I'm sure Milos, you can too, where you're more impressed with your previous pictures than you were at that time, because we're always in that mindset of getting better. So if we're here, we're looking right here. And then if we're here, we're looking right there, because you'd be like, well, I'm better than I was here, but what I need to do is this. And then once it's all done, then you're going to be like, oh shit, my back was actually pretty freaking crazy.
Yeah.
That's exactly how it is.
That's what I'm
doing. You guys are bodybuilders. You're probably the same way. I don't know.
Yep.
Maybe not Milos. Maybe Milos is like, hey, check out the abs. Let me show you something.
But what you just said, Chris, now that I post some of the old pictures from back in the 90s, and then I look at, damn, I don't look so bad here, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But back then, I didn't feel that way. Shit.
That's what drives us, right? Ultimately.
Yeah. The thing is, Derek, again, I keep talking about you have to inspect what you expect and posing. I mean, Ronnie Coleman said in one of the interviews, I think it was with the Valutainment, Patrick Bet David, like, oh yeah, he didn't even look in the mirror. I mean, come on. you have to look in the mirror. You have to constantly check. Because I tell you this also, each and every pose that you're already maybe hitting right, maybe hitting just right, until the moment that this one photographer told me, oh, no, Milos, how about if you just tweak a little bit? And I was so offended and said, don't tell me what to do because I know how to pose, right? But then I said, okay, let me do it. And then he took a Polaroid and I looked at it. It's goddamn, this actually looks better. And I opened up my eyes, like, hold on a second. For all these poses, I just hit my front double the way I do it always, a side chest, just because that's a habit. But did I ever actually try? Can I move just an inch here and there and change the level and angle and see if this is better? I see this with many guys, because we all hit our side chest a certain way. Well, for some people, it's much better to stick the chest up the old-fashioned way. For some people to turn around and gain the width. Lila Brada just said a couple of days ago, he used to pose like minimum 30 minutes a day. Yeah, as a posing. And that's probably not something you are doing and nobody else is doing nowadays. But getting that posing and squeezing would also get you the new detail as well. And I hope, of course, Hani's going to be listening. Hani's not going to disagree with me. If you can throw in 30 minutes of posing and just master every fucking angle and every muscle fiber, this is another thing that is going to gain advantage.
The key secret is the Polaroid camera. For those of you who don't know, that's when you take a picture and it instantaneously goes, and it comes out. And you got to shake it until it's developed.
Yeah, but listen, that was back in the 90s, right? So
I remember. I was a kid.
That was back in these are kind of Polaroids, right? Shit, these are all Polaroids from back in the day, right?
Did you cut the bottom tab off?
Yeah, because I had, this is my journals, right? That I was doing, all my food, shit like this, right? So much protein, carbs, fat every day, 6 weeks, all this shit. But back in the day, there was Polaroids. Now we have an iPhone, shit, and you just compare. What I would do, same place, same distance, same camera, everything, then you can truly compare. Anyway, Polaroid.
No, I agree with you, man. And that's what I've been doing since the Olympias. I've been kind of playing around with my poses. I haven't decided yet whether I'm gonna post a video tomorrow. I don't know. Did you guys see my Instagram picture today that I posted? The crucifix photo.
Yeah, I woke up just.
We're all gonna check right now live.
30 minutes before, but
what I'm saying is like that was one that I don't know if I've hit a crucifix before, but just like my feet in a standard position, I had my foot angled a different way. So
I already like the sound of it.
Yeah, that one right there. So that was one photo of a video I have on my phone. I'm thinking about posting it. I don't know if I should or not. Maybe.
Of course you should. I mean, think about that. I mean, all this, I don't want to reveal too much. We are all fans. And back in the day, Jay Cutler was saying, I had the official gym for Flex Magazine photo shoots, back in the day. And Chris Tuttle was shooting, but I would shoot the guys all the time. And then I would put on my bulletin board, right? There was no money, there was no monetization or anything. I was doing it for the fans. So who doesn't want to see Jay Cutler on a photo shoot or feel heat and all this stuff? So let me just snap the pictures. And I was constantly posting it, and We, the publication, was pissed off at me. Come on, think of the fans. So you tell me, who doesn't want to see Derek's routine? So please, think of the fans. If you love
what I was getting at was that I've been practicing my poses and thinking like, let me just try this. Let me see if this little bit of a flare works with my physique. And so who knows, man? Maybe I'll come up with a different pose or two, like the one I just mentioned, So we'll see. Yeah, that's it.
That was great. Everybody comment below if you want to see more stuff for Derek.
I like it.
Yeah. Well, Derek, I don't want to take up too much of your time, buddy. I really appreciate you coming on, man. It's awesome catching up with you. And of course, my wife and I do real estate stuff near you in Florida. So the next time we're both there, we'll catch some sushi, man. Catch some sushi.
For sure. I got some spots for you, bro. You guys are always welcome, man. Milos, you too, man.
And where are you training? Where are you training now still? Are you still in that
Yeah, MI40 is where I typically go, or Lionheart Gym, which is over in Clearwater. So it just kind of gives me a different vibe out. There's so many gyms here, man. There's Powerhouse Gym. There's so many gyms, but MI40 is typically where I go, or Lionheart Gym, smaller.
Bro, the gym that Hani's at is 20 minutes from my house.
Dude, I know. Are you talking about Absolute Recomp, or are you talking about Hani's new gym?
Absolute Recomp. I don't know about Hani's.
Yeah, I like Absolute Recomp. That's a great gym.
It's got a lot really good equipment. Really good equipment.
I love that place.
Milos, you ever down in Dallas ever? Dallas?
No, I've never been there. I've been to Houston, right? And
it's hot. Yeah.
yeah. Is it?
Oh yeah.
Have you been to Labrada's gym then?
No, I've never been yet. I'm planning to go. Yeah. I go a long way with Lee Labrada, and I just had podcast with him like on Tuesday, which is great. You talked to Lee, right?
I like those guys. They're good guys.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, okay. We almost forgot. I have to ask now, Derek. Going into the Arnold Classic, how do you see yourself? Shaun Clarida coming with the big boys. I asked Lee Labrada, so I want to ask you, how do you think his chances are? Do you think they're going to consider him?
First of all, did he announce that he's going open at the Mr. Olympia? What's that situation about?
I believe he is.
Like he's officially just open.
There's no
he's not
212
going...
in Arnold this year. There's no.
No, I know, but is he going back to the 212 to defend his title, or?
Oh, you mean after that? I don't know.
You don't know? Okay, so that I was just curious about that, but no, I think everybody is going to be considered. I don't think anybody's ever just like, oh, you're a 212 guy, you're the champ, just move over to the side. This is a competition, and the judges are going to see what's in front of them, and they're going to pick the best guys. I don't think there's going to be any bias like that at all. And Shaun has an amazing physique. I mean, look at him. He's put together awesome. So, yeah, I think he's definitely going to be in that top call out.
Yeah, the top call out for sure. But you see, that's reigning Mr. Olympia 212, just like you were. And then you were making a switch. And you and Hani were considering, maybe too early. You still need to put more size. I mean, Shaun is not going to be able to put much more size. He's 175 pounds.
It's going to be interesting because did he beat guys that were 270 plus already? Sure, he did. Yeah. But he didn't beat Andrew Jacked and Samson Dauda and Nick Walker or William Bonac. So... and my apologies. Yeah. And Ramy too. So I'm excited to see what happens. I think that's what makes it so interesting is like, it's kind of like this past year's Olympia. Like, where do you place these guys? If they all come in on point, I don't even know if I could even pick them. That would make it easier if everybody just came on point. So I don't know. I think Ramy at his best would beat Clarida, but then again, we don't know, man. He's the giant killer for a reason.
Top four.
I think top four. I don't see him being. I don't see him winning. No offense. I love Shaun. I don't see him winning, but I definitely see him in the top four, and that's just my opinion. And if he wins, by all means, you got to give it to the guy for sure.
It's a very likable. We all love him anyway. Underdog is always cherished, and especially giant killer. Look, you beat him. Week or 2 weeks before he beat everybody at the Reno show. Okay. And what I was saying, and this is how it is, you beat him exactly on that structure of the width, wide shoulders, V-taper. And here it was, Regan Grimes looking in very good shape and similar physique to yours, but they still gave it to Shaun Clarida. Shortly after that, I made that interview and podcast, and I said, on the same basis, he can beat Big Ramy, and Big Ramy was reigning Olympia champion. If
he's off, I think he can definitely do it for sure. I think if Ramy's off, he'll beat Ramy.
Yeah, but do you understand? It's like 120 pounds size difference.
Would you agree with me? Would you agree that if Shaun's 100% and Ramy's off, do you think he could take Ramy?
That's what I said at that interview like 2 years ago when Ramy was still Mr. Olympia. You know that Shaun is gonna be in crazy condition. Yes. Even he is most consistent. Some people can get lean and some people can get hard. and some people can get both dry, lean, hard, and Shaun Clarida has that. Some people, even the zero fat, but they don't have that hardness, like specifics. He has everything. It's just his downfall is he's narrow, and that's where you exposed him when you guys competed.
Yeah. And maybe that's just me wanting to see a lighter weight, smaller guy, yeah, but I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll see. It's 1 week away. So
yeah, a week away. I mean, Lila Brada was second to Lee Haney. Mohammed Maccabi beat Lee Haney back in the day. There was instances with the smaller guys. 4 out of 6 overall Olympias, when they had the lightweight and heavyweight, 4 lightweight champions beat. Only Arnold beat twice. What's his name? Franco Colombo. But if you remember, Frank Zen back in the day was a lightweight champion and then overall champion. So back in the day, that mattered. And this is what I was saying to Hani in that podcast. Like, doesn't matter. You are 212, but you have that shape. It's almost, you didn't need to get bigger, so to speak. I mean, proportionally, you would still have a bigger V taper and everything. But Hani said, it is a still big man show. They wanted Hadi to put extra 10 pounds. They probably want you to put extra 10 pounds. I'm sure you're going to do it. You have a full year to do so. Good luck. I'm a big fan,
Thanks,
every time when I talk about you riding the horse rodeo or a baby muscle.
It makes me laugh, man. I think it's hilarious.
I mean, well, so we're talking about the possibility of how I see it. Judging used to be you have 3 distinctive rounds, shape, symmetry, proportion. You have to judge. Just give me your assessment. What do you see there? And I was always faring well in this round. And then muscularity, okay. And then final posing round, right? It's not the posing, the choreography. It's show me all the other poses. And you have so many, the twisting back shots and stuff like that, because it's supposed to be physique judgment, not just mandatory judgment poses. So, so imagine now, if you're going at nighttime and you don't know if you're going to win. Okay, mandatories, you mastered it. You were good. But now somebody shows up with the Lila Brada or Arnold Schwarzenegger, mantis pose, twisting back, whatever pose, and they impress. That's still physique bodybuilding show, not just mandatory poses. So how do you see about judging yourself?
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. But do you think with the quarter turns and just in general that they already take that into consideration?
Okay.
Even though it's not judged, like as in like you get a point or whatever, it's like, don't you think that's a little bit of already like what they're judging?
It's already a little bit, and that's how they wanted to say it. But listen, okay, so let's say you are the judge and you watch the top 6, and I have to say, okay, I want symmetry, proportion, aesthetics to be established. This is aesthetic part of the bodybuilding contest, and I have to judge these 4 poses only. Now you beat Hadi Choopan in this round. Okay? And you have
if that's the case, I say we put it in there.
but here it is. You have 5 points. For example, you have 5 points there. And then muscularity round, they judge the way they judge it. Okay, doesn't matter. Yeah, they were the rounds for a reason. I mean, when they take that symmetry round, they say, we're still being judged. Everything is being considered. It's not. You be the judge. How did you consider this? Okay. Just aesthetics, just shape, just balance. This is what and in that round, you're not able to pose. You just do the quarter turns, right?
I don't know. I mean, do you think that 8 poses is enough?
No, but you see, so let's talk about it. That's exactly. Thank you for asking that question. So first was we established aesthetics and we judged them on aesthetics. Now we chose 8 poses. Why? That's a minimal amount of poses from every angle to establish every muscle, how developed. Front, we have a frontal biceps side spread, most muscular and abs. From a side chest, side triceps, right? And back. So in these 8 poses, we can see every muscle from every angle, okay? But that's minimal view. We just see your physique in these 8 poses. So what used to be Arnold was a master of it. Frank Zane, you did Sergio Oliva. Think of how many other victory poses and mantis pose and twisting back. So now you have a chance. Show me what you built for all these years. Show me bodybuilding. Show me your physique. And then here is a Derek Lunsford doing that twisting back pose. It's stunning. I know that even in your posing routine, you go this one before the side chest, which is fine. But now at the finals, you tell me which fan wouldn't want to see 20 crazy poses put together as an art in some nice choreography, and knowing that this can now make a difference. Because judges has already seen your 8 mandatory poses at the pre-judging twice already. Okay.
I'm all for it.
Well, I think this is just my perspective, and I don't think there's a right or wrong here. Well, I think the fans get that already because we have the posing. We have our own posing routines that we do. We have the free posing, and we even have the pose down, which is all opportunity for us to hit and showcase whatever poses that we think is best for our physique. So I think the fans get that. Whereas for me, even seeing like the classic physique, which has been around for a few years now, it's hard for me to judge a bunch of different poses on a bunch of different guys standing in line. So for me, it's a little bit like it would be harder for me to judge. Whereas like if you have 8 strict mandatory poses that you're being judged by along with your quarter turns, then I think that for me is more of a physique and bodybuilding contest rather than how well can I move and transition and so-called dance on stage.
Yeah. It's thank you for saying that. It's not about a move and dance and choreography, because I can move my bones, very easily. I show no muscle. It's not choreography and posing and movement. It's muscle that you show and your physique. Mm-hmm. So these 8 mandatories, it's measurable. They chose 8 mandatories and everybody has to do them. So Bob Ciccariello was saying, "What? Are you asking for more mandatories?" I said, "No, not necessarily. Look, you tell me." And I put this last Arnold Schwarzenegger posing routine in the 1980 Olympia. And then I follow up with Frank Zane and stuff. Look at those routines. So you tell me, why would Arnold do mantis pose or twisting back pose if this doesn't count? If this didn't do nothing to the judges? Why did we have all the victory pose in the Sergio Oliva, other poses, or Frank Zane, vacuum, and all? Why did we have this? This is history of bodybuilding, presenting their physique, not mandatories. Okay, mandatories are being directly compared. So maybe you can have a different point system. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't have to be equally measured. But if you have at the finals, and you can bring Derek Lunsford signature poses that you look fucking phenomenal, right? And now I'm looking at, but this doesn't count because nobody does this pose. Let's not compare it. I've just seen a fucking magnificent piece of art in front of me. Physique that is stunning. But this is not mandatory poses. We don't count because nobody else did it. We're not going to even consider that. Well, fucking consider it. This is bodybuilding.
Interesting. Huh.
Is it? You tell me.
No, that's what I'm saying is like, for me, the only question would be, how do you put that in an actual judging criteria?
Okay. It's still, judges have to not
because, like I said, sorry to interrupt you, but like I said, because there's opportunity 3 times for us to do that, to showcase that already. So if it was to be mandatory, how would it be scored?
You'd have to make it like a bonus round where it's like these are a way to present your physique in a series of poses, which could count for maybe X number of points, right?
Yeah, but here it is. I love. Listen,
I already know he's thought about it. That's why I asked.
Yeah, you're a second. Yeah, runner-up at Mr. Olympia, and somebody that is probably dominate for next 10 years and stuff like that. You are there, so it's important now for you. If you're telling your mom, okay, bodybuilding is a sport and competition, and the competition. Oh, what are we judging? We are judging physiques. Okay, how do you judge physiques? We have to pose on the stage, and we have to present. What do you present? Well, I would have to present my shape, symmetry, proportion, and balance first. Okay. Now they judge all the muscle groups if it's good development from 8 mandatory poses, front, back, side. Okay. And we have a chance to show our physique in any specific individual way that we want, to glorify our strengths, aesthetics, and crazy muscle body parts. And in poses they're not predetermined by the 8 mandatories. Okay, there's still physique around. And now combining all that, we can say who is truly best physique. Because what is Mr. Olympia by definition? Best physique in the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what it sounds like to me is it almost sounds like the what was it called when you could like call someone out? It was like two bodybuilders.
Challenge round.
The challenge. It almost sounds like that.
Listen, I love the challenge round idea. They fucked it up big time because, okay, if you call me out first, so Derek goes against Milos, and you call front up,
instead of like saying, hey, you have to hit the pose that I choose, it's, hey, I want to go up against this guy and we will show our best like classic pose or whatever it is.
But
non-mandatory.
Here it is, and listen, this was interesting. But if I would go out and I call you, and I'm stupid enough to say front double biceps, so I challenge you on front double biceps, right? And you kill me on that one. And now when it's your turn, now you can ask which pose you want. You said it, front double biceps. You just beat me, and this is what this was a mistake they did it back time, because whoever won that first pose, they ask again, and this was a fault on their side. But listen, just to clarify this, would you rather know that your physique is the best in every possible way, from a shape, balance standpoint, when they have to say, okay, I've seen those quarter turns in Derek being better. Okay, why don't you put your numbers on? Because that's first part of the bodybuilding. Mandatory poses, you chose those mandatories. Before there was 7, now is 8. Maybe they want to expand it to 10. I don't know. Okay. But still, now going to the final show, everybody's going there. You guys are told, hey, don't worry. You don't need to do any posing, doesn't count. It's not going to be Hunter Labrada just told to Lee Labrada, Dad, I don't need to do any fucking routine. They're not judging. Okay. So if you're not judging, any sport on any field, any part of the competition, nobody's going to put any effort. But when it's between you and Hadi, and right now your posing routine and poses that you choose, physique that you present can make a difference. It's not measurable, like, okay, they compare it directly, but overall impression, like if I see that, oh shit, this is a great pose. Oh shit, look at that. And now he's showing me even more balance. He's showing me even more thickness, more weight, more differential. I mean, I'm not fighting the battle for me. I'm retired, and God knows I'll maybe die a couple of years from now.
Don't even say that.
Knock on wood. It's just like they say, Milos, what are you trying? So in this podcast with Lila Brada and Chris Cormier and Dennis James, they all agree with me, right? They agree, but nobody's saying anything. I
think you're one of the biggest fans of the sport, and I think you just want to see it evolve and grow into the best that it can be. So I don't deny anything that you're saying. For me, it's more like, okay, how do we do it then? Or not we, but how does the establishment do it then? Like, to make sure that's like scored correctly and appropriately, so that, like you said, a challenge round isn't messed up, because it's a great thought. It's a great theory, but when it's put into practice, is it going to work? So I think it's just working out those kinks maybe, but
let's say that you are right now at the head of the bodybuilding and the sport in general. Do you want to please the audience, or you don't care? It's fine.
No, you do. I think you should. That's the thing. When it comes, it's more of like a professionalism thing. It's like I said, as much for yourself as it is for the fans. So if you understand that, and if you want to carry the sport to the next level, I think it's important that you understand that there is an entertainment aspect to it, and that you should want to hype the crowd and create energy. I mean, man, I'll tell you what, like I said, this was my first open Mr. Olympia debut. I didn't 100% know what to expect. Once again, I did believe I could be in that top 3 call out. But when I walked out and hit the front lat spread, I felt the energy of the room. The air got sucked out. Like everybody went, like I felt like everybody just inhaled all at once. And it was the coolest thing I've ever experienced in my life at any sporting event I've ever attended. And I'm the one on stage like, oh shoot, that just happened, you know?
Yeah.
So like, I want to feel more of that as a fan of the sport. And long after I'm, done bodybuilding too. So during this time frame, whether it's the next 10 years, 15 years, whatever it is that I'm competing, I hope with the group of guys that I'm competing with, that we can elevate the sport like what you're saying, whether we do it as far as it's being judged or whether it's just our own, posing routines. Either way, I think we need to understand that there is an entertainment aspect and we want to take this sport to the next level. So
your words, you want to elevate. Okay. Right. Yeah. That's the definition. Then can you say the same senses? Okay, if they just want to do the mandatories, that's fine.
Yeah,
it's not right.
The thing, I mean,
you already did mandatories. It's not fine.
Yeah,
it's not fine. That's not sufficient. That's not enough. Raise the bar, and we expect. And you know what? We're gonna judge you. You can slip down from not. What you can only show your physique in the 8 mandatories. This is that minimum requirement that we ask, and this is all that you can do. I mean, we used to routinely do like 30 poses in a free posing routine, 30 poses, variations up. And let me tell you, I mean, you have all spectacular, but some can hit back double biceps and they just don't have that control, and lats don't pop out, and it's nothing. But then in a twisting back shot, all of a sudden, they contracted correctly, and all of a sudden, oh, there it is. All the back, all the detail, lats, rhomboids, traps, everything is there. He just didn't know how to hit it there. Okay. But, this is mandatory, and this is the way you have to hit it. Well, mandatory for a back, okay, but now I'm showing you the same back that you want to see it, tweaked around, and now it's, let me show you my back. It's not like I don't have it, So I don't know the answer how to do it. But if there is more discussed, we can bring the sport up. We all want a better sport. And you mentioned UFC. I know how, and I watch all the UFC. They want to entertain a crowd, and the sport belongs to the fans, basically. And you want to try to fight them. Right now, be honest. I mean, go to the bodybuilding show, you don't want to even look at most of those routines because you can see them. They just work it off and they don't want to be there. You're supposed to want to be there. And you're supposed to want to say, let me show you what I work for. Let me entertain you. Let me, bring you up from your seats. This is how it's supposed to be. And it's never going to be.
So you're also saying, in hindsight, of creating a point system or having it being weighed in the judging criteria is also going to cause people to put more effort into it, which is going to ultimately be more entertaining, and then also have more people want to watch, because a lot of people start to clear out sometimes with opposing routines and they want to come back for the actual mandatories of prejudging, because I'm usually most excited to see the prejudging, right? Because you can see what's going on.
Comparison. It's direct comparison. Yeah. And that's what we want to see, by all means. But
so
just
what would you actually be judging then?
Okay, so I judge Hadi versus Derek already in mandatory poses. I've seen it. Okay, and maybe it's like if there was symmetry round, you would be beating him there, right? And his muscularity round, you go pose by pose, front double biceps. I mean, he is complete. Yeah, but you have that wow factor and more V taper, so it can go to you. Lat spread, very competitive. I didn't like the chest hardness as much, because this is where Hadi would possibly get you. So he is still wide. It would be very competitive front lat spread. Somebody's gonna like his, somebody's gonna like yours. Side chest, I'll tell you, if I'm a judge, probably he would beat you in a side chest because he has this fucking shit going on, right? Back double biceps, you would win. Lat spread, you would win, okay? Turning around triceps, very competitive. He can go either way. Ab shot, he would beat you. most muscular, he would beat you. So far, because of that. Okay. So I've seen that one. Okay. I'm a judge and I give the nod here. But now the posing round, you're going to do not just these 8 mandatory poses, but you're going to do your twisting back shots and maybe archery or whatever you choose to do. And I'm going to say, God damn, you know, he didn't show me that. You impressed me here. So should this account for something like he did in Arnold days and Frank Zane days? I mean, think about it. Why would Arnold spend a whole routine of doing anything else but mandatories? Look at that last video. Because he want to impress, he want to show the physique that is Mr. Olympia, the best physique in the world. That was not mandatories he was doing. So by having this, okay, we're going to do all these other poses, and I have to impress you with physique, not with the movement. Movement and choreography, bringing the house down, that could be maybe that best posing entertainment award and give some money for that on top of it. I wouldn't put the finger and say you have to judge entertainment value, because it's physique show. It's not the dance contest.
So would you say if there was
no
2
music.
more points awarded, would it be posing routine and favorite classic pose?
Then you see favorite classic pose, but this is the issue.
Or let's call it non-mandatory pose.
Non-mandatory pose. So I would give the round that you can do whatever you want.
Now there's 10 points.
But what do you mean by 10 points?
So there's 8 mandatory poses. You score the posing round and then your favorite non-mandatory.
That's maybe one of the ideas. I mean, it's not like they're really putting the points. I don't know if we were ever judging the show. It's not like I'm putting Derek won front double biceps and Hadi won a lat spread. And it's not like
it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like whoever wins gets 1, 2, 2, 3. Yeah.
I would just put it this way. Somehow, whoever is listening, if they can come up with an idea. Here's the question for both you and Chris. Should physique count if you do all the other poses other than mandatories, but you look phenomenal? You have 10 crazy poses. Bodybuilding poses, they are so fucking wow, right? Should those count or they don't? Because they can say everything counts. But no, have the round when, you can impress me. I already know from the mandatory poses, you and Hadi are there. And this is probably how it's going to stay. But let me give you a chance to impress me. And if you do impress me, I can change my opinion and now move you guys up. That brings that competition at the night show that nobody knows. It's not sure. I have to get the best out of me. I have to represent me and sport and, everything, bodybuilding. And the audience, I want to represent them. Yeah, I want to make them want to come back and see me next time, because Lila Brada did this fucking crazy routine. 91, I watched it. Ooh, 92, I couldn't wait. 93, that was one of the things I was looking forward. What is going to be his next posing routine? And not just because of posing, because of these beautiful fucking poses. They say it's a movement. It's not the dance contest. It's not ballet and choreography. It's physique. Watch Lila Brada and freeze every shot. Like, holy cow. But hey, this is not mandatory. That doesn't supposed to count. Why would that not count? Please tell me.
Milos, we'll both answer, and then I got to wrap it. I got to get out of here.
Hey, you got to go.
I got to train, guys.
Yeah, so I'll say this. I would be okay. I would be okay with them having a 30 to 45 second free posing with prejudging, which would count for something. As in, you can present your physique in any way you want possible, but no music, no dance moves. And then the posing routine would just be your posing routine at night, because then you have subjectiveness of, I like that song. I like the way he moves. Now you're confusing entertainment with physique, where if there's a free posing, no music, then you could probably say that's a little more realistic than counting the entertainment value, right? You know what I'm saying?
No. And how many would you have lined up at one time at prejudging?
You mean like if they were going to do free posing?
Like if like you were saying.
I would have them come out individually. So it's them representing their physique, kind of like you guys do anyway, but like it would actually count.
No, but they actually do this. That's why that's Bob Ciccariello's argument. Oh, they have a 1 minute to do it already.
Doesn't count as a score.
So giving them another 30, 40 seconds, it doesn't make a difference. No, but you have to go. So I don't want to drag. I can talk about this for hours. I'm trying to make a difference. And Derek, you're a perfect person. It's not like I'm for you or against you. You are one of the leading bodybuilders. And think about it. What would be better for our sport? What would be more challenging? And what would be better for the audience? This or that. So here is my final. Should poses, phenomenal poses of yours, other than mandatories, count as a Mr. Olympia Best Physique award and judgment or not?
I think mine should.
There you go. And everybody else thinks they should. So they should bring whatever else they can bring. Bring me 10 more poses and impress me. And now I see, holy shit, his back is so good here. I didn't see it before. His arms are so good here. I didn't see it before. I mean, seriously, that's why Arnold was doing all this shit. Mm-hmm. Look at the popping iron.
Chris, how can we reach you?
Oh, well, obviously on Instagram at Derek Lunsford _, also on TikTok. Biggest push is on YouTube. I'm putting most of the content out right now on YouTube. So follow and subscribe on my YouTube channel, Derek Lunsford. If you guys are interested in coaching, I know Chris, Milos, I know you both coach people. I also have a coaching team as well. It's uc-fit.com. And yeah, I want to thank, my coach, Hani Rambod, Evogen Nutrition, Gas and Better Bodies Clothing, and also MegaFit Meals. And you guys for having me on here today, man.
Yeah, absolutely, Derek, man. Again, I appreciate you coming on, man. It was awesome.
And real quick, are you? I know Milos, you're going to be at the Arnold, right? Or Chris, are you going to be there?
I am not, my friend. I got other travel obligations and business stuff going on.
Are you coming?
Yeah, man, I'll be there.
Let's have a drink at the same table.
Sounds good. Done.
Looking forward to it. All right.
Done. See you there, man.
All right, guys. Take care.
Yeah. Good luck.